Yeah. Back again, Dr. Alim Bey. We're going to get ready to get started in a few minutes here. Let the room fill up. Let the people get their notifications and see what happens. Because this is something in which that, today is the, as they say, the day that the sun comes from out the grave, which is nothing more than during the winter solstice. The word solstice means the day that the sun stood still. And in this particular day, December the 21st, 22nd, began um, the sun's descent to its lowest point. So here it is now, coming from up out of his grave. December, the 3 days and 3 nights that is mentioned in the Bible, you know. So 23rd, 24th, 25th, 3 days, 3 nights. All right. So now the sun is coming from out of the grave on December the 25th. All right. No longer in its lowest point, which lasted 3 days and 3 nights. All right. That is Jesus in the sepulchre, in the tomb, as he laid there for 3 days and 3 nights. That's what that is symbolic to. It's astrological. So we talk about astrotheology, but not just astrotheology. We also are talking about the fact is that your birth sign is in the placement of the moon. In other words, every 28 days or so, just like the woman goes through her menses, there is a seed that is deposited from out of your pineal and pituitary glands, which is known as the holy seed, which is known as chrism, in which that makes its descent like Santa Claus down from the clausum, Santa Claus, clausum, down into the manger, the solar plexus. You get it? You see? Yes, yes. So it's not just astrotheology, it is physiology, in which that is also taking place to give you that quantum physics to go beyond the physical. All right? And if you was able to do this during the 12 days of Christmas, my true love gave to me. If you was able to do this for 12 months straight of observing your sun sign in the moon placement and doing particular exercises such as the Cobra breath technique, which was taught to us by Grand Master Sanyata Saraswati, who brought Tantra Kriya Yoga here to the so-called states and wrote the book, Jewel in the Lotus. Jewel in the Lotus. You too will understand how to raise or resurrect this seed, holy seed, this chrism that has been placed in the manger back up to sit on the right hand side of the Father who art in heaven. Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Yes. you too will be able to do so. That is the internal ascension. Yes. And over those 12 months, my true love gave to me a partridge in a pear tree. The tree is your spinal column, the nervous system. The partridge, all right, in the pear tree is like the star placed above the tree when you place your Christmas tree up and put the bright star, because that's how the three wise men found the star of Jesus. The three wise men symbolizes the three stars in the belt of Orion, pointing towards the star Sirius A in the Canis Major, the Canis Major constellation, the dog star, Isis or Set. Oh, shucks now. You too have that. It is called your third eye. And beaming forth from the pituitary gland is a white light in which that is shown or shined upon the quote unquote. It is shown upon the pineal gland. And even with your eyes closed, you can see this white speck of light. Yeah. And how you know that chrism is flowing in the bodies, because if you have a mound, which is called the epiphany mound, at the roof of your mouth, there's a little hole there. And if that hole is not clogged, you will have the chrism, which is the milk and honey. The milk is produced from the pituitary gland. The honey is produced from the pineal gland. That is what we call DMT, pinoline slash HGH, human growth hormone. And as these hormones are mixed, there's a sweet taste that flows down through the roof of the mouth. And that taste is sweet like honey. Good God Almighty. Yes, indeed, it's sweetie. Yeah. See, these are the things that they need to be telling you. They don't want you to know. Oh, somebody wrote, just logged on. Stop that, Jesus. No letter J? They still can't see Alim versus Seti. Moors. Moors out. Now that's deep, because it was during that debate with Seti being, I would technically would be the godfather of this indigenous movement here in the Americas, because very few people was talking about this information of us being indigenous. When I debated SETI, there was 400 Negroes in the room, and they basically rose their hands up to say they was Africans, until I showed them the picture of the teeth. Let me see the teeth. They was called the shovel teeth. And when I showed them the shovel teeth pictures, and I asked the question, how many of y'all have these teeth in your mouth? Out of the 400, 3 people told the truth. and rose their hands. I had to get nasty with them. Nasty. Like Janet Jackson. I had to get nasty with them. I said, get them goddamn hands up. This is a goddamn stick up. Get them goddamn hands up and stop lying. When I did that, oh man, when I did that, okay, he said keep telling me to double tap that screen. Double tap that screen, y'all. D-Calico keep telling y'all to double tap that screen. All right? And so, when I told the audience to get their goddamn hands up and stop lying, this is a stick up. Everybody raised their hands then. Oh. So all you niggas in here do got these teeth in your mouth. Well, guess what? Africans don't have these teeth. Neither do, Europeans have these teeth in their mouth. Only Native Americans and 20% Asians have these teeth in their mouth. Only Native Americans and 20% Asians have these teeth in their mouth? Yes. Yes. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? So they have the teeth in their mouth. And guess what? You Negroes here have these teeth in your mouth. What are you doing with these teeth in your mouth if you just came from West Africa 400 years ago? What Asians have you been mixing your DNA with? Where did that come from? You see, I told Negroes during the SETI debate, y'all not even going to know what happened until 5 years down the line. That was 2009. That was 16 going on 17 years ago. Good God Almighty. 17 years ago, y'all. 2009. This is 2026. This week. Yeah. Yeah, think about that. Yeah, the shovel incisors. Yes, the shovel teeth. So it went from 3 people to the whole audience having to raise their hands because they didn't want everybody to know that they were not just Africans. Then they had another dilemma that they had to deal with. And that was be the native indigenous side of things. And Negroes just wasn't up for it. They just wasn't up for it. Obviously. Because they didn't want to tell the truth concerning their DNA, their teeth. This is why now you got so many faking the funk. Talking about they indigenous, but they ain't take a goddamn DNA test to prove shit yet. Why is that? They ashamed? They claiming that the doctor's going to take something from them. They're going to get cloned and shit. Motherfuckers, they already had your blood. They had that from when when you came out the womb. They took the placenta. If they wanted to clone your monkey ass, they would have did that shit from the beginning. They wouldn't have to wait till your ass got 30, 40, 50, 60 damn years old. Get the fuck out of here. They don't wait that long to clone your ass? Why? Oh boy. Hey, I tell you, Washington Ish to everyone that came into the room. Peace. Shalom. Shalom. Lakum. Assalamu alaikum. Okay. Islam. All right. That's enough for that part. Now let's get into the real part. Give me a one for everybody that can see the screen. You should be able to see the screen. Give me a one. Give me a one. 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 All right, if y'all can see the screen. I'm going to pull it down right quick. Let's see. All right. Y'all able to see the screen? All right. One. All right. Able to see the screen. That's what I'm talking about. All right. So let's look at this here. Looky. Yeah. United Washington. I am a Washingtonian, a Tamarian, a Moor, and more. March 20th through the 22nd, we have our original American Heritage Weekend event. Give me a call at 910-364-9099. All right, I'm sponsoring this. Dr. Alim El-Bey, if you want to go and purchase a ticket, go to dralimelbey.com and sign on to there. All right, limited seating. So go on and get yours right now. Don't be waiting to the last minute. I know my Negro family. I know how you is. I know yous like to wait till the last minute. Matter of fact, Negroes say they want to pay when they get there. No, you can't do it. Don't try it. Go on and do what you need to do right now. Okay? We're going to have the sweat lodge popping. Oh, yeah. Sweat lodge will be popping. The biogenetic sovereignty, the sacred medicines for healing of a nation will be popping. We will have the Archangel Ariel in the building. And speaking of her, there's been some shadiness going on in the community. Let me tell you something. This goddess is real. All right? I was healed within 24 hours by this goddess, by her, the ancestors, and the Twa, through taking the Iboga, through taking the mushroom, through taking the Changa. Healed, taking her solar regeneration. Healed. Nobody on the scene, and I am a master herbalist. I was trained by Dr. Paul Goss, Dr. Sabi, Dr. Layla Africa. And I'm telling you for a fact, her shit is on point. She ain't nothing to play with. Her DNA activation and plasma regeneration, that biogenetic sovereignty, her sacred medicines, it is definitely for the healing of a nation. But regardless, she will be in the building. She will be in the building, protected. Negroes want to act crazy? We got some AR-15s for that ass. Let me just be blunt about it. We're not playing with you disrespecting the goddess. We're not playing that. She's real. She need to be respected and protected. Okay. So anybody trying to come acting crazy, you're gonna get it. That's all I'm saying. Come respectful. Come enthusiastic. Come to elevate, to levitate, to participate, and to rejuvenate. Overstood? Indeed. So we got the Archangel Ariel. She's going to be in the building. We got Brother Ani Osaru. The God will be in the building. Brother Ani, you want some of that geometria, Kabbalistic breakdown on what is happening in the world today? Then you know who you need to come and see. And we got another special guest. We got Brother B. Dale. Brother B. Dale will be in the building, and he'll be raising hell. Brother B. Dale will be raising hell. Okay? He gonna be raising you niggas from out of hell back into the heavens. So for those that want to participate in this year's event, this is March 20th through the 22nd. So that's the 20th, Friday, 21st, Saturday, 22nd, Sunday. All 3 days. In order for you to get the full benefit of what we're going to do for that weekend, you need all 3 days. If you want Reiki, Qigong, Tai Chi, pranic healing, along with the medicine, along with the sweat lodge, food will be available. Juice and more. Vegan smoothie, cafe, and metaphysical shop and herbal market will be in the building. In fact, you will be in that building. We also will have tents on the land if you choose to. If you don't want to pay hotel pricing, you can do tents on the land. All right. And we will have also United Washita Shekamus or Chiefs also in the building. The Nationals will be in the building. This is a event that everyone should come to, because this is the original American Heritage Weekend. The original American Heritage Weekend, March 20th through the 22nd. I need to see y'all Negroes in the building. Know what I mean? That's just what it is. No perpetrating the fraud. If you down by law, come on. Now, let's get into the information. You get the book, The Hidden History of the Human Race by Michael Creedmoor, Richard L. Thompson. This is Michael Creedmoor here. He says humans have been walking the earth for hundreds of millions of years. Now, see, I'm going far back. because people going to say, you've been here 400 years. That's what we've been able to prove. Well, we know that you only been on the planet Earth 3,000 years in the light skin formed as you are now. And that based on the definition of American, it says copper skin toned. And none of you have copper skin tone coloration, especially the $5 Indians. So therefore, who were the humans that's been walking the planet Earth for hundreds of millions of years? It's not you. Because you cannot take the sun. I'll tell you who it is. It's the people who can take the sun. So see, because whoever controls the images control your self-esteem, self-respect, and self-development. Whoever controls your history controls your vision. This is by Dr. Leonard Jeffries. Yeah. During the God frequency, in which that Brother Rich put together, I lectured with Brother Panic before he passed, and Baba Phil Valentine, Brother Dr. Leonard Jeffries spoke before I came on. And I gave him that time because, number one, being an elder, he needed to speak to the people. But he said something very important here. Whoever controls the images, it's the images in which they have you thinking that you're not indigenous to this land. At least that's what they suspected and they wanted to happen. And that's how it was for a very long time. It was like that for a very long time. So here, over the past 200 years, the scientific establishment have selectively ignored, suppressed, and forgotten some remarkable artifacts and bones that contradict the dominant view of human origin and iniquity. Evolutionary prejudices have served as a sort of informational filtering system that has left us with a radically incomplete set of facts for building our ideas about human origins. Well, I'm going to expose these facts. The hidden history of the human race is a call for change in today's arbitrarily rigid mindset, deploying an unexpectedly great number of convincing facts, deeply illuminating with critical analysis. Readers will find themselves compelled to rethink our understanding of human origin, identity, and destiny. So he says in the book, based on the archaeological, based on the paleo information and knowledge, based on anthropological events, he says that humans have been walking the earth for hundreds of millions of years. What backs this up? Well, this is what we do know. Get the Masonic book, The Origin and Evolution of Freemasonry, connected with the origin and evolution of the human race, by Dr. Albert Churchward. 30 degrees. All right? 30 degrees. Freemason. And this is what he says. This first man was the little pygmy. His descendants were still found in many different parts of the world. Where? South America, China, Malay, New Guinea, and probably other places. But the majority are still living in Africa, where his original home was and is, around and near the Great Lake at the head of the Nile. The Egyptian wisdom registered the fact that the pygmies were the earliest humans because the earliest divine man known in their mythology is portrayed as a pygmy. Following the zoo types, the primitive form of the elder Horus was that of Bes. Bes is the figure of the child Horus in the likeness of a pygmy. Bam! They go to picture. The triune god of the Assyrian resurrection. The three members of his triad was Sika, an old death god of Memphis, Ptah, the creation god of Memphis, and Osiris, who is Osaru or Osar, the verified or verifier of the dead. Okay. Now you will find similar images in Mexico of the 12 people. In fact, with the tongue sticking out, as you see here on at least two, they're in the middle. On the calendar of the Olmec calendar, Olmec Mayan calendar, you will see the tongue sticking out, symbolic also to the Mayan, who is, i.e., the Egyptian, the pygmy. So here we have the signs and symbols of primitive man, or primordial man, Albert Church Ward. Once again, Dr. Albert Church Ward, he was an MD, all right, and a past wishful master, 30 degrees. And this is what he says. The pygmies, who are the Twa, or Tahites, and new people, are the original and the oldest living people on the face of the earth. On the face of the planet Earth. And this Church Ward wrote this in 1903. So they knew this 123 years ago. They knew this 123 years ago. Okay? He breaks it down again in another book of his, The Origin and Evolution of Primitive Man. Once again, these are Masonic books. You can get and read yourself in the libraries. And I say they're Masonic books because he's writing from a Masonic experience. He himself being 30 degrees, a wishful master or past master of a lodge, as well as also a MD, a medical doctor. He says, from here, these little men spread it all over the world, north, east, south, and west. In other words, they brought the news. NEWS. They brought the news until not only Africa, but Europe, Asia, North and South America, and Oceania was populated by them. So who's the first people in Europe? The pygmy. Who's the first people in Asia? The pygmy. Who's the first people in North and South America? The pygmy. Who's the first people in Oceania, which is the Pacific Islands? The pygmy. And how did the pygmies look? Bam! Look like niggas to me. He was the first, the little red man of the earth. Oh, that's a rhyme right there. He was the first, the little red man of the earth. From the pygmy, evolution continued progressively in the following order. Next was the Bushman, the Masapa Negro, the Nilotic Negro, the Maasai, the Mongoloids, and then the so-called Aryanists. And when was this written? In 1912. So here's a book written 14 years ago. 1903, book written 123 years ago. And here's another book written around that same time period. So we're talking about 100-year-old books. But we're also talking about recent books because you got here The Hidden History of the Human Race by Michael Creedmoor, Richard L. Thompson. And he told you that Negro was walking on planet Earth millions of years ago. You don't believe that? He wrote another book, Forbidden Archaeology. He argues for the existence of moderate man on Earth as long as 30 to 40 million years ago. What proof do we have that man was on the planet Earth 30 to 40 million years ago? Well, he shows you all the information in the book. Get the book. Get this book, Gods and the Spacemen in the Ancient West by W. Raymond Drake. And he says here in the book, Pygmies inhabited Earth for 30 million years. This is what he says. What we have found is that there's a 28 million year old human skeleton in the British Museum in the basement. Where did they find it at? Oh, from the Caribbean islands of Guadeloupe. Good gosh. It says here, human skeleton found in extremely hard 28 million year old limestone on the coast of French Caribbean island of Guadeloupe in 1812, belonging to a woman about 5 feet 2 inches tall. The fully human Guadeloupean woman skeleton is completely in every respect except the feet and head are missing. It is an authentic discovery, which has been in the British Museum for over half a century. Well, now it's been in there for a whole century and 13 years, which has been in the British Museum for that long. With the 2-ton lime block containing Guadeloupe woman was first put out in exhibit in the British Museum in 1812, it was first displayed as proof of the Genesis flood. In 1881, however, the exhibit was quietly taken down to the basement and remains there to this day. When we went to the British Museum, my wife and I, in 2008, we asked the curator of the museum about going down into the basement because we wanted to see this. The head curator of the museum was not there that day, so therefore we did not get a chance to go down into the basement. But what he did tell us is that what we seen on the surface was only 20% compared to the 80% in which that they had down in the basement. 80% more information, more stolen legacy in the basement. Guadeloupe woman, 28 million year old human skeleton. You can read this article See, they didn't want you to know. But the truth is here. So you just tallied up from 600 million years ago, okay, with Michael Creedmoor, Richard L. Thompson, in their book, The Hidden History of the Human Race, to the fact that he argues for the existence of moderate man on Earth as long as 30 to 40 million years ago. Then we find a skeleton in which that is almost 30 million years old of a woman in which that is completely in human form, except for the head and the feet. Almost 30 million years old. That's deep. And it was here in the Western Hemisphere, Guadalupe. It wasn't in Africa. It was in the Western Hemisphere. Okay. Yeah. Then you get the book, The Wonderful Ethiopians of the Ancient Kushite Empire by Drusilla Dungy Houston. This is her here to the left. This is what she says. Check it out. Kushite colonies were all along the southern shores of Asia and Africa, and by the archaeological remains along the southern and eastern coasts of Arabia. The name Kush was given to the four great areas: Medina, Persia, Caesarea, and Area, and the whole territory between the Indus and Tigris in prehistoric times. It says right here in Africa, the Ethiopians, the Egyptians, the Libyans, the Canaanites, and Phoenicians were all descendants of Ham. They were a black or dark colored race and the pioneers of a civilization. They were emphatically the monument builders. That means the mound builders, the pyramid builders on the plains of Shinar. Shinar is Sumer, which is Mesopotamia, Samaria, and the valley of the Nile from Meroe to Memphis. In other words, from Ethiopia, Sudan to Egypt. In southern Arabia, they erected wonderful edifices. They were responsible for the monuments, the dot, southern Siberia. Hold up, there's monuments in Siberia? Oh, that's how the Siberians got here. They was following us because we created the monuments in their area. And in America, along the valley of the Mississippi. Remember that now. In America, along the valley of the Mississippi, down to Mexico, in Peru, the images and monuments stand as voiceless witnesses. This was the ancient Kushite Empire of Ethiopia that covered three worlds. Covered three worlds. What was those three worlds? Africa, Asia, and America. Okay? Some of our later books recognize their indisputable influence in primitive culture, speak of them as a brunette brown race representing a mysterious Heliolithic culture. In other words, they were the sun worshippers. They understood the science of the sun and how the sun was important to the establishment, okay, of one's ascension and health. So we go to socioeconomics, the history of the Pan-African trade, commerce, money, and wealth, part 1, written by Paul Alfred Barton, him to the left here. Alayhi salam upon all of these people who have passed on. He says the mound builders, they were dark-skinned, woolly-haired blacks who was indigenous, native to North America, and kin to the Olmecs of South America. The Olmecs and Washita, Black Californians, Yamasee, the Califanami, and other pre-Columbian blacks of the Americas was part of a prehistoric trade network that began in Africa and spread worldwide over 100,000 years ago and at various periods afterwards. Get this book, The Hidden Life in Freemasonry, C.W. Ledbetter. This is Ledbetter here to the left. He says this, that pygmy race is a relic of the old Lemurians and represents them more purely than any other people. The Lemurians were at one time a gigantic people, but in the process of dying out, they diminished in size. The African Bushmen were also remnants of the same race, but with very mixed blood, and the same thing is true of those who are usually called the Australian Aboriginals, except that in their case, there is a very admixture of Aryan blood. At one time, the Pygmies were spread over a great deal more of Africa than at present, and some of them were the first people to enter Egypt. Okay? Now, keep this in mind. The Pygmies are the relics of the old Lemurians. They were the first Moors, Murs, from Lemuria. Now, Lemuria or Lemurian come from lemur. They were trying to say you was monkeys. These small monkeys. Okay. But no, you was the Moors. The Moors. Now, here's another Mason revealing the fact that the Pygmy race, known as the Twa, or Anu people, were in the Pacific because Lemuria was in what we now call Hawaii. Hence, you have the capital of Hawaii, Maui, M-A-U-I, or M-U, Mu. So, from here on out, we'll just call that area Mu. So here we have Ledbetter, as well as also we have the brother James, Colonel James Churchward, who is the brother to Albert Churchward. All right. Now, what did Colonel James say? Well, he says the same thing. Who lived in America 50,000 years ago is the question he asked. And he said, sculptured tablets recently discovered in Mexico present startling evidence of prehistoric civilization in the Americas, on the American continent, founded by colonizers, from the lost motherland of Mu in the Pacific Ocean. From the lost motherland of Mu in the Pacific Ocean. Well, his brother already told you who populated Oceania. He says here. From here, these little men spread it all over the world, north, east, south, and west, until not only Africa, but Europe, Asia, North and South America, and Oceania was populated by them. He was the first. Oceania, they was the first. Here they are. They was the first. So here they are, 50,000 years ago in the Americas. And we know they've been here and populated the planet for at least 30 million years, as we seen with the Guadalupe woman in the Caribbean islands, who said 5'2". So they would be pygmoid, because they would be taller than the average pygmy, which is only about 4. Woman is only about 4'8", 4'9". Man stood about 4'11", 4'10", 4'11". Right, less than 5 feet, but fully human. Now, please don't bring up no fucking ape woman by the name of Lucy, which only dates back to 2.8 to 3.2 million years ago, when we just showed you a 28, 30 million year old fossil, human, not no fucking ape, which that's what Lucy is. That's an ape. That's an ape. That's not a human. Anyway, Dr. Albert Goodyear, he tells you the answer. You wanted to know who lived in America 50,000 years ago? Well, he told you. Colonizers from the lost motherland of Mu in the Pacific Ocean. So it had to be the Twa people, or people who was small in stature. Well, Dr. Albert Goodyear, he goes further. He's a South Carolina University professor. And he says humans lived along this east bank of the Savannah River 50,000 years ago. The 51,700-year-old North American site found in Allendale County, South Carolina, by the Savannah River is less than 30 miles from the Atlantic Ocean. All right. Here you have Goodyear. He's holding the flint work by human hands at the 51,700-year-old level. His evidence for the ancient African migration came in multiple forms: skulls and skeletons, footprints in lava, campsites, genetic M174, and D haploid groups, linguistics, paintings, carvings, architecture, Egyptian writing. Well, remember, I showed you that the Twa people was the first to enter Egypt. Hold up. Let's go back. Here it is. The Hidden Life in Freemasonry. C.W. Ledbetter. Come down to the last sentence. And at one time, the Pygmies were spread over a great deal more of Africa than at present. And some of them were the first people to enter Egypt. So here it is. It says linguistics, painting, carvings, architecture, Egyptian writing, artifacts, and structures. This data exposes the false premise that the first Americans came from Asia once and for all. All right. So 50,000 years is clearly before the last ice age. The last ice age was around 10,000 years ago. So they would be part of the pre-Covis culture. So the question is, who were the pre-Covis people? The pre-Covis culture is generally believed to be the first Americans. So I just showed you who the first Americans were. The Twa people, known as the Anu people. And in the first humans to populate the Americas, they arrived perhaps as early as 50,000 years ago. According to carbon dating at some sites, like the Topper site in South Carolina, they were hunter-gatherers with tools distinct from the Covis. All right. This is Susanna Filney. She's a freelance writer for Rhode Island with degrees in neurosciences and classic from Vanderbilt, URI, and Trinity College. Now, this is what geneticist Tyrone Cannon wrote. This, as you can see, that's my name in the upper right-hand corner there of Saru Alim New Tupac El-Bey. And this is what he says. New evidence put man in North America 50,000 years ago. Now, of course, we've gone further back than that, but we'll take that as a standard because that still is 40,000 years before they claimed that the first people came across the Bering Strait. From out of Siberia, China, Russia, into America, Alaska, down into Washington, Oregon, California, so forth and so on. Says radiocarbon tests of carbonized plants remains where artifacts were unearthed last May along the Savannah River in Allendale County by University of South Carolina archaeologist Dr. Albert Goodyear, indicating that the settlement contains these artifacts are at least 50,000 years old, meaning that humans inhabited North America long before the last ice age. Top is the oldest radiocarbon site dated site in North America. Goodyear says, however, other early she's in British. However, others early sites in Brazil and Chile, as well as in sites of Oklahoma, also suggests that humans were in the Western Hemisphere as early as 30,000 years ago to perhaps 60,000 years. The three radiocarbon dates were obtained from deep in the terrace at Topper, with two dates of 50,300 to 51,700 on burnt plant remains. The moderate date relates to an intrusion. Stanford say that 50,000 dates indicates that they were at least 50,300 years. the absolute age is not known. The dates could also actually be older. Goodyear say 50,000 shall be a minimum age, since there may be little detectable activity left. Okay. The type of excavation site is in the central Savannah River Valley of Allendale County, South Carolina. A popular assumption in some scientific circles is atomically moderate humans, AMH, evolved in Africa between 60,000 to 80,000 years ago. Evidence of AMH migration out of the African continent has been documented in Australia and Central Africa, or Asia, at 50,000 years, and in Europe at least 40,000 years. The fact that HMH, AMH, all right, well, also in North America at or near the same time highlights the fallacy of the double OA concept, all right, or a double O concept. Because what they found out is that Albert Perry, his Y chromosome went back to nearly just say almost 400,000 years ago. All right. Which is more than 120,000 years older than what they was telling us and they were so happy about until this took place with Perry. Okay. Now, we go back to Tyrone Lewis Cannon. Once again, geneticist. This is what he says. Ancestry.com analysis in the form of additional communities represents east of the Mississippi River original groups that populated the southeastern United States of America. Those Aboriginal Americans formed part of the Mississippian culture. The Mississippian culture was a mound building civilization. The earthen mounds constructed by Osorio Alim El-Bey's ancestors predate Mongoloid occupation. Okay? What does that mean? Means I come directly from the mound builders. All right? Well, remember, we see the same information being shown here within the wonderful Ethiopians of the ancient Kushite Empire. She says they was responsible for the monuments that dotted southern Siberia and in America along the valley of the Mississippi down to Mexico and in Peru. All right, their images and monuments stand as voiceless witnesses. Okay. Right here, the mound builders. They were dark-skinned, woolly-haired blacks who was indigenous to North America and akin to Olmecs of South America. The Olmecs in Washita. I am Washita. That has been proven by way of my bloodline. So here, Aboriginal American ancestry, misnomer Sub-Saharan African. So see, whenever they tell you that you sub-Saharan African, and they tell you that 60 to 65% of us is sub-Saharan African because we have E1B1A. But E1B1A is not sub-Saharan African. It is Aboriginal American ancestry, represented as approximately 87% of Alim El-Bey's genome. Reflects the original groups that populated the Americas. So for those who have E1B1A, it reflects the original groups that populated the Americas. To the grouping of Albert Perry, who had Y chromosome or Y DNA A00. So in this book, We Are Not Just African, The Black Native Americans by Dr. Clyde Winters. Being that we pushed on this subject so hard, people have to start coming out writing on these subjects and telling the truth about it. Even those who are so pro-Black and so African, they're so Pan-African. It's all right. I was pro-African, pro-Black as well. Nothing wrong with that. But I'm not going to sit here and lie to my people and make them think that they're only Africans, because they're not. Especially the fact is that we have these teeth in our mouth. So here, chapter 2, the first Black Native Americans. He says several types of Blacks entered the Americas, including the Khoisan, the Anu, who are the Pygmies or Negrito type, and the Proto-Saharan variant of Blacks. Up until recently, it was believed that the first humans crossed the Bering Strait 12,000 BP to enter the North American continent. This view was never accepted by physical anthropologists who have found skeletal remains. Okay. Now, what did they find with these remains? Well, this is Richard Naves, forensic expert at the University of Manchester, all right, in England. And this is what he says, that the face of the first American is a Negroid face. It isn't Mongoloid. She was African and Aboriginal, Australian, from the Pacific Islands. Oh, there is the Pacific Islands, the Oceania again, populated by the Twa people. And here it is that they found Negroid face isn't Mongoloid. This is what it says, the first American. The Brazilian finds studies that the New World was discovered tens of thousands of years earlier than previously believed. Considerably or certainly well before the time of the American Indian. Prehistoric, no, not American Indian, Native Americans. Prehistoric skulls were found buried in layers of soil in Brazilian caves. They are the oldest skulls of America. Lucia, this is Lucia here to the left, belongs to a race found historically along the rim of the Indian Ocean, in the islands of the South Asia, in East Africa, and in Australia and Malaysia. All right. Now, Richard Naves said, now that was BBC. That's the British Broadcasting Company. But this is Richard Nave. This is what he says, British forensic scientist. That to me is a Negroid face. It has all the features that would be associated with a Negroid face. The proportions of the face doesn't say anything about it belonging or being a Mongoloid. All right? He says it. It's not a Mongoloid. All right? Of course, they had changed that later on. Here, we have by Walter Neves. This is a Brazilian anthropologist. And he says the first reaction was not to believe it. But as the results repeated so many times, and the result is exactly the same thing, the skulls are very similar to the Australian Aborigines and Africans, and no similarities at all with Mongoloids in Asia, nor with American Indians or Native Americans, as they're called. Okay. Now get this book, Covis. So we went from the pre-Covis civilization to now be going to the Covis civilization. And it says On the Edge of a New Understanding by Ashley Smallwood and Thomas Jennings. Now, this is what is said. If you go and read the book, I took GEDmatch analysis. They try to say that so-called Negroes do not have the genetic markers of the Covis people. You don't? I don't. So I took the test, and this is what came back. F9999919, Covis, Montana, 12,500 KY. 12,000.5 KY. All right, 12,000.5 KY. K means thousands and Y means years. So 12,000.5 or 12.5 thousand years. And here it is. These are the 22 amino acids. Okay, you can count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. 22. And if you notice, look at the genetic markers. They are embedded in every single 22 amino acids. Why are the genetic markers so strong? Because this proves that my DNA goes back further than 400 years ago from Africa. This is a proven fact now because GEDmatch just showed and proved that in all 22 amino acids, I have heavy markers of Covis and pre-Covis existence. That my relatives' ancestry been here in the Americas nearly 13,000 years ago and further back. The less orange there was, the less markers. But as you see, these are markers in every single amino acid, proving that I'm older than 400 years ago, right here in the Western Hemisphere. And I'm E1B1A. So that means that 60 to 65% of us who have E1B1A is also proof of the Covis Montana ancestry. So when fake Native Americans, pretendians, as we call them nowadays, the Siberian Chinese. So as they say that we don't have a connection to the Covis Montana, that's a goddamn lie. Not only can we read the book, we got the DNA to prove the book, because we got the look. So, even according to an African author, Aborigines or Aboriginals of South America brought civilization to Africa and civilized Africa. This is Katanga Bongo, all right, who lives here in the United States. And based on his research of South American influence on Africa was sparked by interest in the linguistic heritage of a relative, an 18th century wanderer named Redbird. Redbird. Bongo quest turned him towards or throughout the two continents to uncover the true history of the ancient Egyptian civilization, and the ancient Egyptians is the first in the series of an unraveling the mysteries of Africa. So this is what it says. The idea that it was Europeans who introduced civilization to Africa is one of the biggest historical myths. In fact, evidence for archaeological, oral history, traditional languages, and cultural practices strongly indicates that it was the South American Indians who introduced civilization to Africa some 7,000 years ago. Wow. Long before the Greek and the Roman civilizations emerged, the South American Indians had introduced civilization to Africa, thereby making Africa the second continent in the world to become civilized. The second. Because South America, i.e., Central and North America, were already civilized. Ramesses III, father of ancient America. So when we talk about the fathers of America, and you think about Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, John Adams, wow. And you get so teary-eyed. And they were the fathers of our nation. Nigga, please kiss my converses. Sure enough. Okay. Who's the master? You are. So Ramesses III, father of ancient America, what does it say? Let's look at it. Again, if he had not set the expedition to far west of the world, the transformation of Mesoamerica would not have come about and taken the turn that it did. When stock is taken in the achievements of the pharaoh Ramesses III, will have to be accorded the double distinction, savior of Egypt and father of Olmec, Mexico. He's the father of the Olmecs? He is the father of the Olmecs. Ramesses III is the father of the Olmecs. And guess what? We found out. Ramesses III had E1B1A. How are you related to Ramesses III? Oh, being that he's the father of the Olmecs, and being that he's the father of ancient America, is that a coincidence that it just so happens that You, 60 to 65% of the Negroes in America have E1B1A, the same as Ramesses III? You have the same as the father of the Olmec Mexico, the father of ancient America? This is the Olmec head. I know. They try to tell you that this is a regular, big-lipped, big, broad-nosed Mexican from 1500 to 1000 BC. Notice that the dates of the heads corresponds exactly with the dates of the destruction of Atlantis, which was 1500 BC, because these actually are the Atlanteans. Thoth, who is known as Tahuti, came from America, came from Atlantis, and went into Egypt, just like we just showed the proof that South American Indians went into Africa and civilized Africa. And this is coming from an African. I'm an African. I'm an African. What? Hold up, nigga. Not again. I know y'all niggas been listening to Dead Prayers for all these years, but come on. Sorry. But anyway, they oftentimes show you the front of the Olmecs, but they don't want to show you the back of the head of the Olmecs, because then it's the dead giveaway. The niggas got braids. The father of the Olmecs, Ramesses III, E1B1A, just like 60 to 65% of you are related to Ramesses III by way of your haplogroup, E1B1A. My God. This head dates to approximately 1500 BC to 1000 BC also. The foundation of archaeology and related sciences, as we know, is presently were laid out in the mid-1800s. This was during the time when the Europeans were perfecting the worldwide white supremacy paradigm. The scholars in various fields during this time took the position that this can't be a Negro. This is a dark Caucasian. Yes, a dark Caucasian. Now, in my book, not with this woolly ass hair. And definitely not with this widow's peak. You ain't never seen no damn dark Caucasian like this. Or like this. In the mysterious city of gold, the few remaining Olmecs are described as being descendants of a what? Of who? Where? Oh, of the Atlanteans. So Ramesses III was the pharaoh of not just Egypt, but the dominion of Egypt, which happens to be here in the Americas, where we find 18 temples in the Grand Canyon, but he is an Atlantean. The 20th dynastic period was here in the Americas. Not in Egypt, the kingdom of Egypt over there, but was here. And how do you have any proof of that, Alim? Since you are a doctor, do you have any proof of that? This is what these niggas try to ask me. Did the Olmecs build the first pyramids? It says the Olmecs were the first of the Mesoamericans to build a tradition of building pyramids. One of the pyramids, the Great Pyramid in Levanto, is considered to be one of the earliest known pyramids. So niggas built pyramids here. They built them in Romania. They built them in China. They built them in Africa. They built the mounds in Europe, in England. We are the mound and pyramid builders. And who are the Olmecs? The Olmecs are also known as Indians. What? Hold up. These niggas are Indians? Wait, someone just got me confused. I'm confused now. Ancient Indian civilizations, the Olmec Indians. The Olmecs Indians are often regarded as mother culture of the late Middle American civilizations. The Olmec Indians was a culture of the ancient people who lived about 1300 to 400 BC in the eastern Mexico lowlands. Some researchers say that they descended from Asia. Others say that they was from Africa. The Olmec people call themselves She. In other words, they came from Atlantis, as I already showed you. Here it is. In the mysterious city of gold, the few remaining Olmecs are described as being descendants of Atlanteans. What is the proof of that? What is in your Holy Quran, Circle 7, Moors? You claim to know something so very well, but yet know nothing. Let's read. Because we already seen who is the Moors, Muurs, in Lemuria, which actually is Hawaii, Maui, and it was the dark-skinned little people known as the Pygmies. And you see the bloodline of them that lasted there within the Pacific Islands, Oceania. Now we have in the Holy Quran, Circle 7, the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, or the Moorish Science Temple of America. And what do we have here? Bam. Let's look. Their dominion and inhabitant extended from northeast and southwest Africa across Great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands, before the great earthquake which caused the great Atlantic Ocean. So when Negroes say that Mu, the land of Mu didn't exist, or Lemuria didn't exist, but yet at the same time read within the Holy Quran, Circle 7, in chapter 47, in verse 7, that Atlantis is mentioned 2 times. Atlantis. And not to get confused with the Great Atlantic Ocean, because this is before the earthquake. He said the Atlantis Island. What is that? The Caribbean islands, the adjoining islands, the West Indies, as it is misnomered. See, this is how you put information together. And see, I'm doing this tonight because I'm clowning, because I got to make it so damn simple and make it hilarious and make it funny to the Negro. Otherwise, you won't get it. You be asking me dumbass questions like, well, where you get that from? Show and prove, God. Get the book, The New Atlantis and the Great Insaturation by Francis Bacon. In the book, he says, how the great Atlantis, which we call America, abounded once in tall ships. How the people of Peru through the South Sea and those of Mexico through the Atlantic to the Mediterranean Sea. So where is Atlantis? They call it America. Oh, you need more proof? Let's go to the ancient mysteries and moderate masonry. Oh, here go another Masonic secret. Uh-oh. 32 degrees. We got Charles H. Vale. Mm-hmm. Yes, written in 1909. See, the Masonic Secrets was out over 100 years ago. You niggas are just catching up now. You're just catching up now. You're 100 goddamn years late in this race of knowledge. And thinking you're on TikTok saying some new shit. I said all of this. I said all of this back in 2009. With the Dr. Alim versus the Sarah Seti debate. But you niggas weren't listening. And I told you it went over your heads. And it would take more than 5 years before y'all caught up to what the fuck I was talking about. And then all of a sudden, the explosion of Negroes being indigenous to the Americas is here now. And y'all finally left that Pan-African shit alone. But you're still fucking up because you're not acknowledging the Washita. And it's the Washita that has the goddamn proof of the land connections. What tribe has proof of land connections? Oh, I tell you, none. Otherwise, they wouldn't have bargained themselves out and betray the legacy of the darker skinned so-called Black Indians. That now the so-called Black Indians just have to go back into finding out who you is. Who you is, boy. I'm the godfather of this shit. My book, The First World Order, broke all of this down, that you was already in Egypt, that America was Egypt. America was Atlantis. Quetzalcoatl, or who is known as Quetzalcoatl. Kukulkan. Kudamas. It's nothing but Enoch. Metatron. This is the Jesus of your saga. Yeshua of your saga. Say he got hung or got nailed to the cross. Well, guess what? The same mythology is that of Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl is said to have got nailed to the cross. Coincidence? I think not. He bared the cross. At the cross where I first saw the light, and the burden of my heart rolled away. Nigga, please. Kiss my Converse. Anyway, let's look at this. The ancient mysteries and moderate masonry. See, this is within, and see, this is why you never had the information. Because nobody who was a Mason ever came forth to tell you this shit and put this in categories. Put it in chronicle order. I just did for you tonight. I put everything in a chronicle order. And I'm a Moorish free right Mason. And I'm telling you the Masonic books to get this information from. So there ain't no fucking secrets. So don't come with that, oh, Masons are hiding. They hiding stuff. Conspiracy. Oh my, shut the fuck. Kiss my converses, niggas. Anyway, let's look here. The ancient mysteries in modern masonry. What does it say? Let's looky. Looky. In the book, he says, reckon of the continent of America when the globe been involved in the consequences of disorder of the sky. America known to the mystics as Atlantis. America was known to the mystics as Atlantis. Oh, here go another Masonic man. Ignitus Danelli. And this is what he says. The Atlantis story told by Plato in the Timaeus and the Critias dialogues is not a legend, but a valuable history. This ain't no legend. Get the book, read the book. Atlantis, the antediluvian world by Ignitus Danelli. Get this book by Frank Joseph, Atlantis and the Coming Ice Age, the last civilization, a mirror of our world. And this is what he says. Links the demise of Atlantis was the birth of the Olmec civilization in Mexico. Once again, let's hear that again. Links the demise of Atlantis with the birth of the Olmec civilization in Mexico and the beginning of the first Egyptian dynasty and the start of the Mayan calendar. Ramesses the Third, the father of ancient America, the father of the Olmec civilization. E1B1A, niggas. And you don't believe that? Guess what? Kiss my converses. Sure enough. Matter of fact, that's what we're going to change the name of this episode to is Kiss My Converses. For you niggas out there thinking that this is bullshit. You ain't no bullshit if I shit it on your head. Here it is. We have Archaeological Cover-Up by David Hatcher Childress. This is him to the left. And we get articles from Arizona Gazette Friday evening, March 12th, 1909. We also got it from the Phoenix Gazette, April. All right? April 5th, 1909. And what did they find? They find that ancient Egyptian artifacts. Yeah. Before Egypt. Ancient Negro artifacts from Burrow Cave in Illinois, in the United States, from the collection of the Empress of the Washita. Oh, yeah. And you don't believe there was primitive black nations of America? Well, Professor C.S. Rafinique says that there were. He says, my second memoir was on the Negro, or black nations found in America before Columbus. My second memoir was on the Negro, or black nations found in America before Columbus. Now kiss my converses on that one, niggas. So where do we get the term Washita from? Well, Washita, colloquially, has come to mean the ancient ones, and is spelled in English as Oshita, or as we say, Washita, and written in Wallace Budge's Egyptian hieroglyphic dictionary as Usheti or Washeti. Washeti becomes Septi. Septi becomes Shabazz, as in the lost tribe of Shabazz. The lost tribe of Shabazz, Nation of Islam members, is the Washita. Pay attention. This is in the Book of the Dead, written by E.A. Wallace Budge. Washita was a form of Het Heru and was identified with the appearance of the sky in the north and with the sun rose. She was either depicted in the form of a woman having upon her head the crown of the north, and the scepter round which was a serpent is twined, and in the winged Uraeus wearing the crown of the north. She was the principal goddess of the town of Butu in the Delta. The goddess Washet, serpent-headed. So when you talk about the return of the ancient ones, you got to go back to the title of The Return of the Serpents of Wisdom by Mark Amaru Pinkham. Get the book. We are the Washita. This is Dr. Umar Shabazz. And in the book, he breaks down about us being the Washita. Fantastic book. You need to order it. About the Battle of the Washita. About the Washita River, the Washita Mountains. And here is the Mardi Gras Indians, which is known as the Washita Nation. The little one right here. The Washita Nation. And who are the Washita? The Mound Builders. The Mound Builders were indigenous blacks of North America, ancestors of America's Washita Empire. Yeah. Not only do we get land ties, land rights, we get court cases that can prove the land ties, unlike various tribes. Various tribes, in order for them to understand what is actually going on, they need to come into the realm of acknowledgement from the indigenous way, not from the U.S. government, because the U.S. government is de facto. It is not de jure government. It's de facto. Get the Black's Law Dictionary and look up de facto. Get the Black's Law Dictionary and look up de jure. One is true, one is false. But anyway, let's read. There are so many that have been deliberately destroyed. Over 200,000 ancient pyramids and huge mounds of the earth in the shape of cones, animals, and geometric designs can still be found from the southern coast of America to Canada. These structures were built by the so called obscure people largely known as the mound builders. The truth about the mound builders is suppressed. Well, there ain't no more. You are it, E1B1As. You are the Hebrew Israelites. You are the MOOR Moors. And you are the MUUR Moors. Moors. You're also the ancient Egyptians, Ramesses III descendants. You are from kings and queens. This is proof genetically. When Prophet Noble Ali said that the Moors are from kings and queens, you thought from maybe just Africa. Now, I just showed you and proved to you that Ramesses III was here in the Americas. And he was the father of ancient America and of the Olmecs. And he himself had E1B1A. This is why later on you have the various tribes of Indians who they call Hebrews, the lost tribes of the Hebrews, the lost 10 tribes of Israel, as they're called. Yeah, let's continue on. Because they are or were an advanced civilization of dark-skinned, woolly-haired blacks who were indigenous, native to North America, kin to the Olmecs of South America, kin to the Olmecs of South America, kin to the Olmecs of South America. At one time, the African, that means you are Atlanteans, Negroes. You are the ancient Egyptians, Negroes. At one time, the Africans and American continents were joined, as proven by their similarities in tropical plants and animals, geographic traits, and their appearance of fitting together. The black mound builders were the Washita Moors, the original inhabitants of North and South America. Many blacks in North America are unknowingly descendants of these mound building indigenous blacks and not descendants of black African slaves. Therefore, Columbus was not entirely wrong in calling the people Indians, for the true meaning of Indian is black person. Indios, God's people. The massive remains of their ancient black civilization empire, all right, stands as one of the best kept archaeological secrets in the country. It ain't no goddamn secret no more. Kiss my converses, niggas. All right, that's what's going on. All right, this is enough for this episode of Kiss My Converses. All right. Oh yeah, there are mounds all up and down the Mississippi and along all of the river ways. Whatever there is a major river source, the Ohio River, the Missouri River, the Cape Fear River, any major river. Matter of fact, the freshwater places, we talking about Chicago and Detroit, there's mounds. Anytime there's a large water source, mounds will build. Okay? All right, y'all. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this segment of Kiss My Converses, niggas. All right, I'm going to go back up in the comments and see what's going on here. All right. All right, y'all got any questions? Hit me up. Let's see. All right, what you got? What you got for me? What you got? What you got? All right, all right. Islam. Ramisu, Ramesses, brother Phil. All right, no doubt, no doubt. Ultra Instinct, no doubt, no doubt. In the building. All right, all right. Oh, self elevation. Peace to the God. All right. Okay, okay. That's right. The colostrum. And Santa brings the gifts. And it's no coincidence that Jupiter is the closest to the planet Earth during this time period. And Jupiter is known to be the planet of gifts. Ah, pineal gland, pituitary gland. Yup, land of milk and honey. That's right. That's right. All right, all right. I think y'all getting it. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna eat my cornbread. Clone me. I'm guessing. Going Superman 3, Richard Pryor, Salam, Salvador 2, Bony Knees and Knuckles 2, Fred Sanford, Fred G. Telling you, big dummy. Oh boy. Right, the first Europeans repeatedly documented seeing us. Exactly. They didn't see the Siberians. That's some later shit. It says, yo, Alim, sell a thumb drive, economics or economy is rough. Yeah, definitely. I sent yeah, thumb drive is $20, God. Yeah, tell me the information and everything that you want on it. Yeah, I'll send you something on that where you can do your research and your studies. All right. All right. Somebody asks, what is your doctorate in? Well, actually, I have several doctrines. I have an honorary doctrine of divinity, an honorary doctrine of theology, as well as also a actual PhD in metaphysics. Hopefully that answered your question. It's time for you to get revenge on City. It's been talking crazy about. He's been talking crazy about FBA. Okay. He said, not that you lost in my book. Well, no, I know I didn't lose because look what's going on now. Nobody want to hear about just Pan Africanists. They want to hear about their ancestry here in the Americas. Then we can spread throughout the world. But first, we need to get the shit right here that we have ancestral ties here. All right, Israel. Okay. He said, where's the Epstein files at? Really, I don't give a fuck about Epstein. Let me be honest. Now I can do a class. Y'all want me to do? Y'all want me to do that shit on some Epstein shit? Y'all really want to know who killed Charlie Kirk? And if y'all really want to know that, I'll do that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got no problem with that. But I'd be more concerned about y'all niggas than I do them. All right, that's just me. Okay, that's me. Oh yeah, my cousin Horace Butler. Yeah, he built on this in his book. The Rocks Cry Out. Exactly. I mean, that was years after my book already came out and said this information. But I mean, yeah, exactly. Yep. Oh, let me see this. I All right. I seen a 50,000-year-old stone carving of a star on a red flag in South America, but have not been able to find anything about it. All right. Do you know about this? Yes. I didn't know that it was 50,000 year old though. So that's I appreciate you telling me that. How old it is, because that fits right on in. Oh, yeah. What about the book Q Queen Mu? That's right. And Egyptian speaks Sphinx, which states America is the oldest land along with its human remains. Right. Exactly. 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 And that SETI argument against us being here, the 10,000-year-old ice age. Exactly. And now he even have to come out and say, oh, we existed before that. Exactly. Alim won that goddamn lecture because now everything on which that I said, now he got to teach on. He ain't believing no damn chakras and none of this shit before that. Now he's teaching on it. Now he's talking about it. Nah, niggas just want us to stay in Africa. No, nigga, we ran the whole fucking planet, 196 million, 940,000 square miles of this. We damn was rocking it, rocking it. All right, get that straight. Get that straight. We ain't play. This ain't play. You know, people always trying to, oh, you a doctor, you supposed to be refined and debonair, and you supposed to say anti-disestablishmentarianism and all these long ass big words and shit. Fuck that. I'm damn trying to get to my people. And my people like to play. They like to joke. They like to damn have movies inserted in the shit that they talk about. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. And that's the way we do it over here. That's the way we do it over here. Some mounds were some mounds were made for burial, ceremonial purposes, and some pyramids was made to for burial ceremony. So they will have the same results in that sense. But the pyramids also resonated just like for free energy sources, and it was like they found a natural generator underneath the pyramid. All right. So also it was used, to give the ability in order to sit in sarcophagus, lay in this sarcophagus, and also able to lay there and receive the transformational healing aspects of the sounds of healing through the pyramid. So there was also another reason for that. Oh yeah, I know that goddamn fire detector. It ain't mine. I'm at the in-laws house. So they gotta get that shit fixed, what I'm saying? I know. It's all right. It's all right, people. I know. Don't trip too much on don't let that distract you. Don't let that distract you. You know what I'm saying? Stay on the knowledge. Stay on the knowledge. God damn. Stay on the knowledge. Oh shit. All right. All right, y'all. I'm about out of this piece. All right. EIT watch to ish to those. Shalom Lekum. Assalamu alaikum. Islam. Peace. We out.